Anonymous asks, first question, who still uses Yahoo Mail? Well, intelligent, witty, and sexy people do. God, just get with the program, man. Okay.
Guess I
Anyways,
should be using Yahoo Mail.
sorry.
I guess I should be using Yahoo Mail.
Well, you do use Yahoo Mail, right, John?
Okay.
Otherwise, we might not be able to do the show. But let's not have a scandal in the very first episode. Second question.
Second question.
Do you think Asperger's should be thought of as a difference or a disability? Oh, well, we were just talking about this. Um, while I understand that some might take the label disabled very personally, and many autism advocacy groups are trying to push the idea that autism is simply a different way to think, the fact is that most people on the spectrum struggle a great deal with everyday life. If neurotypicals see the condition as merely a tiny difference in thinking, they might not take the often life ruining aspects of AS seriously. Like I alluded to this just a few minutes ago, it really depends on the situation. For the most part, I would recommend that you try not to focus on having Asperger's unless it severely impacts the way that you're living your life. Because otherwise, Asperger's becomes your entire identity. And nobody wants to have an immutable characteristic become their entire identity. That's why, we abhor racism. Racism. We're more than that. However, like we were just discussing, there are times where, things come to a head where you have to come clean about what's going on. And unfortunately, it might jeopardize a couple of things and you'll have to start all over again, like in a workplace situation. But it's better to come out about it, be open about it, be honest about it. That way you don't, torture yourself psychologically, brood and spin until you just drive yourself into the ground. It might mean that you might lose a job or lose a budding friendship, but if that's the case, then you don't deserve that job. You don't deserve to be that miserable, or you don't deserve that particular friend.
Yeah, I'm tending to think that the label of our show gives us the lead into where we fit in that. With neuro developmental issues, neurobiological issues, brains are wired differently in a lot of different ways across a whole spectrum of things. And if you focus on the negative, that's what tends to grow.
Hmm.
If you focus on the positive and the strength, that's what tends to grow. So thinking of yourself as a disabled person is not like a person who can't do stuff in that sense. It is kind of negative. It's kind of a downer for you.
Hmm.
It's better for you to focus on those things you do well. I mean, Stephen Hawking didn't focus on the fact that he used a chair.
Yeah.
You know, he focused on other things, and he's not thought of as a guy who used a chair. There's a lot of people who make it with ADHD, for instance, that are actors who are industry leaders. I have clients who are lawyers, who are physicians, who are psychiatrists, and so on. Quite good at their work, but they have some issues where they think differently. So I tended to lean on that side of it.
Yeah, and obviously, when it comes to certain symptoms of AS or any other mental health problem, certain symptoms have a greater tendency to create problems compared to others, right? So, for example,
Mm.
obviously the one main symptom of Asperger's is having eye contact problems. Well, that doesn't automatically become a disability because, a lot of people communicate online nowadays. They communicate via text. People, when it came to my ex-girlfriend, who I was with for 2.5 years, our relationship started because we just started texting across the internet. And thankfully, the Asperger's didn't really become a topic of discussion until 3 months in, when I felt like I could trust her and have that particular discussion. But however, meltdowns, sometimes you just get sensory overload, like in the case of that, what was it, a librarian you said? A secretary?
Yeah,
A
yeah.
librarian, okay. Where she couldn't do the two tasks at the same time. Obviously, that I can empathize with that, because anytime there's a problem with my routine, my daily routine, it tends to bug me more than it ethically should. So in those circumstances, I would say that you probably should consider in telling somebody about it. But if there's some way where you don't have to, but you can appeal to somebody based on, your pre-existing competence, then don't bother.
If it's going to interfere with your work situation and you have to say, look, I can't do this because I need this accommodation because, okay, fine. But essentially, I think of folks who are my clients as persons who have issues that they want to address. So I might be coaching somebody, and I'm there for a month or two, and I say, I forget, do you have a diagnosis or not? Because we're not talking about the diagnosis.
Mhm.
We're talking about strategies to live your life effectively, meaningfully, purposefully, with a sense of agency. And that sense of agency might be as simple as getting used to the routine of getting up and doing a workout or
Yeah.
going for a walk.
Hmm.
Uh, I have clients who struggle with getting a routine going, and because they don't have a routine going, they lose a sense of some control of how their life is working out. So the small little things you can do to get your life on track and get a routine going and have things doable, dependable. That's the kind of stuff I work on. So I kind of forget if there's a diagnosis or not. I
Yeah.
kind of work on how to live your life, how to get stuff going for you.
So basically, just to summarize, ladies and gentlemen, in the most general sense, don't make it the most important part of your identity unless the situation absolutely calls for it. Now, obviously, I know there are a bunch of people just listening to us right now and just saying to themselves, well, I have this particular situation where I really think I should, but I'm not sure. Obviously, once again, just send in those particular questions via email or Twitter, and we'll tackle those one at a time.